Hello, 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 everyone. A good Friday afternoon. At least it's Friday today when we are actually filming this. It is our Foodie Friday, and today we are going to be talking about artichokes. It is one of my favorite foods. It is one of the yummiest vegetables out there. You may not think so. It looks like a big green flower, but I'm going to tell you that they're absolutely delicious. So I am going to share with you just some of the health benefits of these because it's one of the heart healthiest of all the vegetables out there on this planet. So I use Canva, and so we're just going to use my little Canva thing here to show you just some of the health benefits of artichokes. I mean, high in so many vitamins and minerals, folate, vitamin C, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium. I mean, that's just to name a few. Plus, artichokes are low in calories and they have 5 grams of protein. So if you are on a plant-based diet, which so many people who have cardiovascular and vascular diseases are on a plant-based diet, this is a great way to get your protein because protein is so important, especially if you have a wound that is not healing. That's especially important for diabetics and people with advanced stages of peripheral artery disease, which is blocked arteries in mainly the legs. It's a disease more prevalent and deadlier than most cancers combined if it gets into advanced stages, known as critical limb threatening ischemia, or CLTI, or CLI, just critical limb ischemia, where you may end up with a wound that won't heal because it's not getting the proper oxygen and nutrients that it needs to heal because of lack of circulation. So protein is a key component in wound healing, and artichokes are one way to supply that, although you'd probably need 6 of them in order to get that one major serving for a meal of protein that you do need, but that is a lot for a vegetable. Also, the artichoke leaf extract, you can actually buy just even the extract, can actually have an impact on cholesterol levels. I was reading Healthline and they talked about a big review of more than 700 people and found that supplementing with this artichoke leaf extract daily for anywhere between 5 and 13 weeks. I know that's a really big gap there. They say it led to a reduction in total and LDL, which means bad cholesterol. So I thought that was interesting. Also, it can have that's the same one. There was an animal study that reported a 30% reduction in LDL cholesterol and a 22% reduction in triglycerides after regular consumption of the artichoke extract. It can also help with high blood pressure, and this is what I like, is it helps also with the liver. It helps to protect your liver from damage and promote the growth of new tissue in the liver. It can also increase the amount of bile. It means that it has lots of fiber and you will poop more. Just saying. One of the articles I was reading was saying that it also can help to ease IBS symptoms. So that's a really good thing for those that have digestive issues. Artichokes and artichoke leaf extract may also help you lower blood sugar levels. Really important for those of you who are pre-diabetic and diabetic. Healthline talked about one animal study that found that certain compounds in artichoke could reduce blood sugar and improve cholesterol, again, in those triglyceride levels in rats. And they say it could be due to the high antioxidants effects of these artichokes. Now, finally, I thought this was also really interesting. We've had a woman on this show who is an amazing cardiovascular specialist, and she ended up with breast cancer because of partly her exposure to radiation during those procedures to try and save life and save limb. And so it got me to thinking, well, what foods are anti-cancer foods? And actually, artichokes. Animal and test tube studies note that artichoke extract, it actually impaired cancer growth. Certain antioxidants, it says, including rutin, quercetin, silymarin, and gallic acid, are thought to be responsible for those anti-cancer effects. So really interesting, makes you really excited about artichokes. I see we have a live studio audience here. We have quite a few that actually ended up buying artichokes and are going to be cooking along with us. I want everyone to meet Douglas. Douglas, go ahead and say hello and show us your choke.
Howdy.
That's a nice artichoke you got there.
I got
And what
two
about you?
artichokes.
Oh, look, you got two of them. And Alan, go ahead and pop on and say hello all the way from Canada. Alan,
Hello.
show us your choke.
Now
Oh, you got
mine,
two as well. Oh, fantastic. Look, I got mine. I'm right near Castro Valley, the artichoke capital of the world. And so this one especially is about the size of my head. So it's really big. But I'm going to show you what to do because artichokes can be very, very pricey, especially at certain times of the year. Even out here in California, where we're right here at the source of these artichokes, partly because, well, I think a big part of it is because of the fog. So I'm not a big fan of fog, except for these babies right here. They grow really well in the fog. But with these, what I end up doing, because they can be, this one was $4.30, not what I typically would spend on them. Normally I can get, ones about this size, just a little bit smaller, four for $4. Sometimes I can get them four for $2.99, which is amazing. I go to Trader Joe's, and I can get those at a really good deal. But this really big mama here, this one was $4.30. And if you end up with these big artichokes, you can actually cut them in half before you cook them. It's really important. Make sure you do cut them before you cook them. So I'm going to show you how to prepare for them. And the one thing I do caution, and I do need to have a disclaimer here because we don't have the liability insurance for you, is they bite. Artichokes have teeth and they hurt. And especially if you go and you're not paying attention and you go to grab a leaf and one of the little teeth actually breaks off into your finger and you have to get tweezers to get it out. Yeah, it does not feel very good. So handle these babies with caution, okay? I'm going to show you how to take care of those very, very quickly. But first, we're going to focus on cutting the artichoke. So everyone grab your knives. I do want to say hello to Kim. We have Marie here also. I think that those are the only other two that are here in the live studio audience. If you're on YouTube, we say hello, hello, hello. Go ahead and join us in the conversation in the comments section. And I love a peanut gallery. I am not perfect in the kitchen. I am far from a chef. I started doing more cooking when my dad was diagnosed with heart disease, and I needed to help figure out some new things that could, help with his cholesterol, help with his blood pressure, and help with his blood sugar, especially. And these artichokes, it's actually a thistle. It's considered a thistle. So the thistle does all of those things. So we end up cooking every Sunday. We'll cook up like a dozen artichokes. I'll cut many of them in half and I just keep them in the fridge. And my dad and I can just snack on them at lunch. We can snack them on dinner. And it's just, we get some extra protein and we get a big antioxidant punch. Okay. So I will start talking here and start cutting. So the first thing you want to do is see this stem right here. And I can actually, if you want, I can pin my my other one to the top so you can see kind of what I'm doing here. And I'll show you the stem. So there's the stem. I have started just cutting off just this little end of it right here because this actually has a lot of fiber in it and even more antioxidants. So a lot of times I'll leave them on. For today, I'm going to cut it off though. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel, these off, the extra leaves, and just kind of shave it down just a little bit. And I'll be careful with my fingers. Be careful with your fingers. And I'm still going to cook it up. I'm just going to add this, to the water. And we'll cook that up along with it because it's always a little extra bonus to be able to have that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful little extra piece to drink. With these little teeth, one of the things that I do is I just take scissors and I'm going to cut some of them off because I am known to get bitten by these things more often than I'd like to admit. So just snip it. I'm spending more time on this, with you guys. I've gotten this down to an art. I can do all this so quickly, because to cook up a dozen of these, you got to just do it fast. And I don't have much patience for the kitchen, so everything I do has to be really, really quick. How are you guys doing over there? They're busy cutting and snipping away as well. Try to get you can get just the bottom ones because
A
I'm going to
quick,
show you how to.
quick
So I'm going to
question.
show you what to do. Yeah.
Is there a way to tell if your artichoke is done, or does that make sense? Because you buy some vegetables and you got to wait until they're certain, or is an artichoke ready to go when you buy it?
That's a really good question, Douglas. And what I try to do when I buy these artichokes, if you notice, it's pretty tight. So I like an artichoke that's pretty tight. If you see the ones that have the leaves that are already out and they're spread like this, I usually don't buy them. I like them nice and tight. So that's the way I buy them. And if you get a worm in your artichoke, bonus. It's a sweet one. I
Kim,
don't personally eat the worm, but you might see a little bit of a worm trail in your artichoke. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You can eat around it. It's usually only on a few leaves, but especially the ones when I'm, going down to Castro Valley and I'm picking it up off the farm stand, a lot of those end up having the worms in them, and they are a little bit sweeter. So I don't complain too much. But
I've
I'm
got
going to go back. Go ahead, Alan.
2 questions for you.
Sure.
These leaves that I'm cutting off, am I discarding these or keeping them?
You are going to be discarding those. It's just the tip, right? Do you want to show me what yours looks like? Okay, hold it up a little bit higher. Oh, you're doing a great job. No, that's great.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you what to do next because this is going to make a big difference for you. So we're going to turn and take a look at.
Sorry, I had one more question, Kim.
Sure.
You put those stems into water in the pot. How much water am I putting in the pot?
We'll get to that in just a moment. I'm going to finish cutting these and then we're going to get the pot all squared away in just a moment.
Okay.
But right now, so what I want to do, because I'm lazy and I don't want to cut all these off the top, and also I'm going to do something a little special with this one. I'm going to show you how to do a basic one, but then I'm going to show you how to, just create variances of your artichoke. So what I do is I go about a quarter of the way down, and I'm not very good at this. Sometimes it's easier than others. You usually have to try a couple different knives to get through there. And this is what I know Douglas enjoys when he watches, because not everything is always perfect for me. Here we go.
Are you cutting the top? Are you cutting the top quarter off?
Yes.
Okay.
So I cut the top quarter off there. And I'm sure every one of you probably has a better set of knives than I do. But look how beautiful that is. So if you're going to cut it in half, you flip it over and you can cut it here.
Go back once because I know mine's not as big as yours, so I only cut a little portion of the top off.
See? There you go. Yeah, no, you only want to cut a quarter of it, not too much. And then,
great, Douglas.
And then I pull it out because what I'm going to do, you don't need to pull these out if you're not going to do what I'm going to do here. I'm going to show you just a little something special that I'm going to do. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. And for those of you who know me really well, I only use one olive oil because it has been proven in the past 3 years to be the healthiest olive oil in the world through Amphora Nueva. And I get their olive oil because they actually pack it right then and there so it's not rancid. They have a turnover of their olive oil every 6 months. They get the freshest of the fresh in. And when you get the right early harvest, hand picked, extra virgin olive oil, it really packs an additional antioxidant punch. So I'm just going to drizzle some of the olive oil into the leaves here.
Hey, Kim,
Yes,
could you hold up the bottle to the camera so I can take a picture of it?
sure. And if you want, we have a book that's on Amazon. It's called Food for Thought. You just do a search for peripheral artery disease books and you will see our book come up. And they have everything on this olive oil and how to pick the right olive oil if you don't have access to this one. Of course, it's really making sure that you have the early harvest or first harvest hand picked extra virgin olive oil.
Can I have one more
I
question?
will read it again.
Sure.
Both mine look different. This one's got some red in it when I cut it down the middle,
That's perfect.
and the other one doesn't.
That's fine. One may be a little more ripe than the other. So they're both going to be absolutely delicious.
What about that fuzz?
Okay, leave the fuzz in. We'll get to that fuzz later. Definitely we'll get to that fuzz later. Okay, so you can actually just cook the artichokes just like this and put it in the pot. But I'm going to do something a little extra special, and you don't want to do this too often, but it is kind of fun once in a while. I get some Italian breadcrumbs that are gluten-free. So I'm going to add a little bit of those in between each leaf, and I pull out each leaf and I put a little bit in each leaf. And this is considered stuffed artichoke. And I just do it every once in a long while. I normally do not do this. I'm doing this more for your benefit. And it is something special that I know that my dad absolutely loves. My mom used to cook this, do it like this all the time.
What is that?
So I'm doing a little bit of breadcrumbs, and I get the gluten-free Italian breadcrumbs. And I just sprinkle a little bit into each leaf, but you don't have to do this. I'm just.
Could I use my chia seeds or my cinnamon or any of that stuff that I have? What about like my beet stuff?
I wouldn't do any of that stuff in there. You could put some ground chia seeds mixed with some basil, oregano, and garlic down there. That might work. Maybe even a little bit of cinnamon, but just mix it in a bowl first. And then start drizzling it into your artichoke. That could be actually even more antioxidant punch in there. So there's one that I'm going to sprinkle. This is where you can do it. So do you have your spices with you? I have a little Thai basil here. I'm just going to sprinkle it down into the leaves of the artichoke. And as I said, I mean, I literally, for the most part on Sundays when I do this, I do not do all of this. I am so basic when I do this for just myself regularly. I like artichokes just plain with garlic in the water and lemon, and then I sprinkle olive oil on top, a little bit more garlic on top, some oregano, and I do it all just in the pan. This is just for people who aren't used to artichokes. This is a little extra special way to make sure that they have a little extra oomph to them, little extra flavor and such. So I put some parsley in there. I'm putting some oregano in there in the leaves. And I'm going to put some garlic in the leaves. How are you guys doing over there? I love
Fill
garlic
up
in
my
the leaves.
spices.
What do you got?
I've got parsley, oregano, garlic powder, and basil.
Oh, that's perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
I must be weird because all I do is steam mine and eat it.
That's perfect. See, that's normally, Murray, that's normally what I do as well. So I'm just gonna put this in.
Yeah, that's what I'm watching you put all this stuff, and I'm like, I never even dreamed of putting anything on the artichoke. It's so good by
Yeah.
itself.
And
What
you
is that
honestly,
what is that right there you're putting in there in that bowl?
this is gluten-free breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs?
I put gluten-free breadcrumbs. And they're Italian breadcrumbs. They have a little extra, you know, flavor in there. I don't always do this. I mean, because I'm always, you know, focused on calories and stuff, and I don't eat bread and things like that. But every once in a while, I'll get, you know, this gluten-free, um, you know, Italian style breadcrumb because it's a little special. You know, it's a Friday night, and we got these new beautiful prawns from Great Alaskan Seafood, and we had them in, and so we're gonna have those on the grill with some stuffed artichokes. And so it's nice and special for a Friday night for my dad and me. So right now I'm gonna pour a little more parsley in here. And the thing is, you might be wondering, okay, I did pour a little bit of olive oil in there so it can help stick. But when you steam them, from the water, the steam will actually moisten this all up as well. And I'm gonna put a little oregano. And I had some basil in there too. I try and make sure I get it in each leaf. My mom was so good. She taught me how to do this. And she was so much more diligent than I was in making sure every single leaf had a little extra special something in there, which she has nothing to do with it. God bless her. Okay, so there's that one. So I have one more artichoke. And this one I'm just going to do in the basic way. So again, I want everyone to see what I'm going to do. So I cut off the end here. Okay. And then I'm cutting it off here. A lot of times I just leave it on, but for this benefit, I'm just going, because I am a little bit lazy and it's easier when it's already cooked to do that. And so, yeah. And I also, so that's off. So I'm just going to throw this into the pot. Okay. And then I'm going to cut this one with that other knife. A lot of times I don't even, you know, I showed you that I took the scissors and I snipped every single one of those. I mean, typically what I do is, and Marie, you can correct me as well. I mean, I just sit there and I just cut the top quarter off. I don't even bother with snipping probably why I get bitten so often by these things. But I cut the artichoke. It almost seems like I need a sharpener on this knife.
Yeah, I do cut off the top just because it's so much easier to spread out the leaves and everything.
Yeah. So, and then I just go like this. And if there is one that looks like it's
show that one to Douglas, because Douglas was saying how his has the reddish color in there. And see, it is normal. Sometimes it's in there, sometimes it's not, Douglas. So you're good.
Yeah. So this one I can just do this. And it's fine. I mean, when they're cooked, you don't really have a big problem with it. But there you go. So this one will just, I'm still going to cut it in half because it's a pretty large artichoke. And I'm just going to split it. And you can see that's what it looks like on the inside. I throw it into my pot. I'm going to take my pot. I'm going to put it over here. And I'm going to go ahead and put some water in it. So when you're filling up the pot, I just put probably about, I would say, half an inch to an inch of water in there.
So Kim, have you got a steamer in the pot?
No.
No, okay.
Nope. So I just put about, you'll
What's the
see in
water
here.
level?
So I'm going to show you the water level. And I'm going to pull that up in just a second. And it's not very much. I mean, we're just steaming, so it's,
Yeah, just enough to steam it up.
yeah.
But what does that mean for somebody who's learning? I mean, like maybe a cup
What?
or
No, yeah, like she said, you want about a quarter to a half inch of water on the bottom of your pot, Douglas.
Yeah.
Because
I think,
as that water heats up, it's just gonna steam it.
yep.
I actually cheat and use my microwave.
I haven't been able to do that yet, but here I have probably about, it looks like about a half inch of water in here.
Okay.
To make sure that it's going to just steam it. But you can do about a half inch to even an inch of water in there, depending on how big the artichokes are. You can see I have my little, my stems in there as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I put lemon, and I think Marie says that she does lemon as well.
No, I can't have nothing tart.
No, I use
No.
lemon. I think it adds a lot of flavor to it. So, and I tried out it just adds a little extra flavor to the water. So people who, you know, a lot of people end up, they use a lot of mayonnaise, they use butter and things to dip it in. If you flavor the water and you flavor the artichokes properly, you don't need a lot of that stuff. I am going to also put in, I love putting my fresh garlic into the pot as well. Now
what about
what's
like a lime?
interesting- It's what?
A lime.
I've never put a lime in there, but if that's what you have, you're welcome to try it. I'm sure it'll add a little bit of flavor. And the interesting thing is, the more that I just spice up the water that I'm going to be steaming in, the artichokes, the more flavors I add in there, I actually save, once the artichokes are cooked, I save the broth. And especially during the winter, I save the broth, and I'll even freeze it if I don't have like a soup planned or something. But it's great as a base for soup. So instead of buying a preservative-rich vegetable broth, this is amazing. So every single time I steam vegetables, whether it's artichokes or asparagus, I flavor the water, I add my garlic, I add my lemon, I add oregano, I add basil, I add garlic, and I flavor the water as much as I can so that I can use it as a base for my soup.
Join me at
And so,
Can you say?
actually mute their microphone there because it's coming through and we can hear someone else's TV. But I'm just adding as much garlic as I can. How are you guys doing? Ellen, Douglas, how are you doing?
I'm keeping up to you fairly well, I think.
Oh,
I
good.
put
Okay, good.
put some basil in there. I put some parsley flakes in there.
Good.
I did add a little a lime.
Okay.
I had cut it in half and quartered it, but
Did you squeeze it in there?
basil and a lime.
Perfect.
Actually, Douglas, if you quartered yours, I mean, you could do two of them, season them one way and season the other two another way.
I put them all in my pot.
Oh, that's all right.
That's fine. That's great. Okay.
That's why I was
I
wondering
have-
about, like, I have the total beet. If I wanted to add that or the chia seeds that you taught me about in that, would that make a difference?
If you want it, it's ground chia seeds. So make sure if you're adding the ground chia seeds in there that you are mixing it with the oregano or basil or whatever you got going on. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I am going to now take my pot and I'm going to go ahead and get it on the stove. And I'm going to get a lid.
It's got some Frank's Red Hot for color, and I just kind of like the flavor brings out vinegar.
Okay. And I'm going to, I'm not sure who needs to be muted over there.
Sugar. Oh,
Who
you
has the
can.
TV on? Oops, I got it. Okay,
Did I
so
see you put some more olive oil in there?
I did.
Make sure
I did put,
jalapeno
I put a little bit more olive oil on the, and drizzled it right on top.
there.
Okay.
Here we
Okay.
are. Toronto pepper is 23,000.
So
So look at
I am going to keep you muted, Marie, because we have the TV on. So when you want to speak, you can go ahead and unmute. But I put the artichokes on the stove. We're ready to go. And what you want to do is you want to bring them to a boil. As soon as you bring them to a boil, mine's going to actually get to a boil pretty quickly. I put it on boost. I have an induction stove. But once you bring it to a boil, this is, I mean, my mom had it literally down to a science that you end up bringing it to a boil and you set the timer for 30 minutes and they're done. And so in 30 minutes, we'll be able to check them. And I'll show you how to check the artichokes to see if they're done. All you'll want to do is you'll just want to pluck, see if you can easily pluck without burning yourself, of course. Just see if you can easily and quickly pluck a leaf out. If it sticks, then it's probably not done. Leave it on for about 5 more minutes and then double check it again. But typically 30 minutes and done. And I don't care how many artichokes are in the bin. Typically it's only about 30 minutes.
So Kim,
And so you do want to put a lid on the pot because you want to steam it. And the only way to steam your vegetables is if you actually put a lid on the pot. If you're using an Instapot, which I think Douglas might be using, it's 20 minutes. So it's about 15 to 20 minutes as it heats up, and then it'll cook for about 20 minutes.
Kim,
Alan?
question? Bring it to a boil and leave it boiling?
Nope, you've got to bring it down. That's a good question. I didn't specify. But yeah, what you want to do is you want to bring it down to about medium heat, just so it's steaming, but you don't want it bubbling to the point where it's that water will evaporate too quickly. You really want to keep an eye on it. And this is how, I mean, over time, we figured out for our pot, for our stove, how much water we need to have in there for that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I have burned so many pans because I burned artichokes. And I joke, people say, how in the world can you burn artichokes? I burned artichokes. So
Okay.
make sure, especially for your first couple of times doing it, make sure to keep a really close eye on the amount of water in there. If you do need to add a little bit more water there, just bring it back up to a boil for a second and then bring it back down to medium heat. But typically, even still, it'll take about 30 minutes to cook those artichokes. So right now, mine are boiling. So I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to set my timer for exactly 30 minutes. And it's ready to go. And so now I'm going to be ready to make my sauce, which I'm really excited about. How are you guys doing? Did you guys get your artichokes in the pot and they're set to go?
They're in the pot. Mine's gonna take a while before it boils.
Okay, no worries. Douglas, how about you? Let's check in and see how you're doing. Did you get it in your Instapot?
No, I'll show you.
Are you doing it already? Look at you! Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. Oh, hey, you do what you can, Douglas. I love the ingenuity.
I'm a single man living in a travel trailer, so I just make do with what I have.
Yeah.
I love that.
So the seasoning of this, you just kind of learn as you go along cooking it, what you like, what you don't like. You can add or subtract stuff as you find out, right?
Yes. There are a lot of, I think the main things when it comes to artichokes, if you look it up, they always talk about the lemon and the olive oil and the salt, pepper, garlic. As you see, I didn't use any salt on mine. If I'm going to use salt, and I don't see it right here.
Kim, I honestly didn't even know that people seasoned artichokes.
Well,
Even
it's
when I
good
was a
you're
little
eating them
girl,
the
all my mom
healthiest way.
did was she would steam them and we'd eat them. I never knew that people put stuff on it.
Yeah. No, I have a whole actual thing. I'll show you.
So I can add my Himalayan pink salt then.
Yeah, you could.
You
Oh,
can
yeah,
if you need a little salt.
You can add anything you want to, Douglas. It's
I
just the point of finding what you like.
I
Oh,
have a
wow.
whole thing of artichokes here that I cooked up on Sunday night. So as you
Wow.
can see, we're obsessed with artichokes. And those ones are just
You did them on
just
Sunday
plain.
night?
We do it every Sunday. I just put a
I was
whole
going to
bunch.
say those be gone by now in my house.
So
It's been 5 days.
if Alan and I cook what we cook and we don't eat what we eat tonight, we can refrigerate it and then
Yes.
heat it up in like the microwave.
Yep. I actually steam mine in the microwave. I put them in a bowl with just a little bit of water in there, usually about 10 minutes. It steams it
Okay,
all
cool.
up and oh yeah. I love artichokes.
Are they
Me
good?
too.
Are they?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love eating them cold. And especially on a hot day with, I'm going to show you how to make a little bit of dip that is a little healthier. You can put a little bit, I can show you. I mean, you can put, I get a little clear, container, and you can put a little bit of just, some olive oil into that with your favorite spices. You can put in some garlic in there. You can put in a little bit of oregano in there, and then I stick it in the microwave for about 20 seconds, and it's a little warmer, and it's a
Did I
nice
hear
warm
you
olive.
say Did I hear you say something earlier about like Greek yogurt or something in it?
Yep. So what I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna use this bowl. I'm gonna use this bowl, and I actually get Forager organic probiotic cashew milk yogurt. I'm allergic. I'm anaphylactic to dairy. I think dairy is pretty inflammatory to a lot of people with cardiovascular and vascular diseases. And so I prefer just this cashew milk yogurt that I have. And what I'm going to do is, and this is, me, if you've been and you've watched any of our Food for Thought Patty's Plate episodes, nothing I do is measured. So
I was just about to ask that question. I mean, so you learn along the way then.
Yeah, and everybody has their own taste.
Okay,
so
cool.
I am putting 4 spoonfuls because it's for my dad and I. And then I'm going to add in some lemon.
So when your water comes to a boil, you just turn it down.
Correct.
Okay.
Make sure the seeds are out. And I'm going to squeeze some lemon in there. Oops, I didn't make sure that all the seeds were out. You saw that one. There we go. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Alan and Douglas, if you guys find you like this, it's also a great thing. Like instead of sitting in front of the TV eating some popcorn or something, the way
Yeah.
you can peel the leaves right off and eat it, wonderful to sit there and snack on.
Nice.
And it's absolutely something that helps because a lot of times, smoking is an issue with so many people, when it comes to cardiovascular and vascular issues. And part of it's habit, right? You have something in your hand. And because artichokes you have to do it leaf by leaf, it keeps your hands busy for a little bit. Great for anyone who has a little bit of nervous energy because you have to work at it. And I always joke that artichokes, if you eat them plain, actually eat calories because it takes a lot of work to do it. So I'm putting a little bit of Dijon mustard, organic Dijon mustard. I like Primal Ranch. I might not have very much in there. I might have to get another one. Yeah, looks like I might have to get another one.
Got some Dijon mustard.
Oh, good. Oh, here I can actually get some of it out. I don't
So
like to waste food.
all I do have is Dijon mustard, but I also have the dairy-free almond bells yogurt.
Perfect.
So just mix that with my olive oil.
Don't mix it with your olive oil now.
No,
Nope. What you're going to do is you're going to put some spoonfuls of the yogurt into a little dish. And then you're going to put some Dijon mustard in it. And if you have a little bit of that lime, you can put a little lime in it. I'm going to put some chives in mine.
Right.
I love chives. Oh my gosh, I love chives. The more the merrier. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic. Not a lot of garlic. I'm going to add a little bit of oregano. And then I'm going to stir it up.
Now, I don't have chives, but I've got some green onions in my fridge.
Oh, that's perfect. Just cut up the chivy end of it.
Okay, we'll do
The
that.
tail end. Oh my, this smells so good. Yeah. See, this really works for me. And if you can, I like a little bit more Dijon in mine. So I'm gonna see if I can dig out somehow some of this Dijon out of
put
this.
your green onions in your dip.
I use the chive side of it. It's the leafy side of the green onion. Not to say that having a little bit of green onion in there isn't a bad thing.
Okay. There's
think
my
that
green
that
onion.
wouldn't be so bad.
And you did put it in your dip, Alan?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
See how we're getting there.
What about like mushrooms and stuff like that?
This is dip, so you really don't want to add mushrooms in there, especially cold mushrooms. If you have regular, there's more Dijon. I'm gonna add a little more Dijon. I just think Dijon just is my saving grace. I use Dijon for so many different sauces because we stopped using a lot of mayonnaise and such, and so I use yogurt for a lot of different things. And adding the Dijon mustard, I even use Dijon mustard for my salad dressing. I'm gonna add more. There we go. Lots of Dijon
I think
mustard.
Alan liked his because he licked his spoon clean when he got done there.
Did
Yes,
you really, Alan? Was
I
it
do
really
like
good?
it. This is good. This is very good.
And so tell us what you did with yours.
I had a couple of spoonfuls of yogurt. Now, all I had was a vanilla yogurt, but it's
Okay.
adding a little vanilla flavor, so it's really quite nice.
Mm.
I put in the Dijon mustard. I just added some more. I put in some garlic powder and oregano. I squeezed some lemon into it and had the green onions.
And I'm going to put a little bit of Celtic sauce in it, just to bring out some of the flavors, but you don't have to do it. What I love about Celtic sauce is it has so many minerals in it. It's really good.
I have to get some. I use a sea salt, but I want to get some Celtic salt.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, for his dietitian to tell him that he's low in sodium, and that's a problem. I mean, typically they tell you low salt diet, but I think they're talking about regular salt. And then so he literally went in that direction and cut out all salt. We don't usually have very many processed foods except for, like a little bit of yogurt and such, but and even the Dijon mustard is in a bottle. But we try to go mostly natural, and we cut out all canned foods and such because of the salt. And so, yeah, he was low sodium, and they said, no, we need you to put this salt in your water every single day.
Holy
Celtic salt.
Oh my God, this is so good.
Kim, did you say you
I
put
mean,
the Celtic salt in the water every day?
my dad does. He puts a pinch of Celtic salt in four 16-ounce glasses of water.
Okay.
And
Look.
so
My last blood work, my sodium was low, so maybe I should be doing that.
What is
I would ask
Celtic
your
salt?
a nutritionist, but this is, I mean,
that's
golden. This is golden. This is literally, right, Ellen? I mean, you can touch it up the way you want. And that's why I like when I'm doing these, because everyone wants a real recipe. You got to learn to cook to your taste and what is right for you. You know, for my dad and I, most of the recipes, they want you to make a big bowl of whatever they're telling you, whatever sauce it is, and it goes bad. So I try to just do what I think is just enough for my dad and me, and I modify the recipe and I just do it to taste. If you understand your flavors and you understand your sour versus your sweet versus your savory, you'll know what to add a little bit more of. But my key really is that lemon, that Dijon mustard, and the garlic, and then the chives or a little bit of green onion in there. Makes it absolutely delicious, and I guarantee you will not miss the mayonnaise or the butter with your artichokes.
the
It's
mayonnaise
really
is going out the window. No more butter. I put Dijon mustard. It's got that yogurt, fat-free yogurt. It's got I put some I love probably not good for it. I put a little Creole seasoning in it and Himalayan pink salt, and damn, that's freaking good. You're
Looks
like,
good,
oh,
Doug.
you. I am so proud of you, Douglas. Look at this. Alan's even eating his.
it's like, yeah, I was
Yes.
thinking, I hope I hope I have some left for the artichoke.
See, that's what I had noticed is Alan kept licking his spoon clean. He's
That's
like,
good.
dipping it. He don't need an artichoke. He's dipping his spoon, not the artichoke.
That is really freaking, holy smokes.
I
Yeah.
know. I told you that who needs mayonnaise? You can even make your own spread for your sandwiches and such.
Well,
It's
I'm wondering what that would
amazing.
do on my salad. That in the salad that I've learned to make, that would be, oh man.
So I could probably teach you how to do a little bit of a healthier ranch using your yogurt as well. So maybe one of these times we can do that if you want, because you can use the yogurt for so many different things, and it has great probiotics in it. And make sure you do get the unsweetened. This one in particular that I have, you can get organic unsweetened vanilla bean. You can get the unsweetened vanilla bean if you want. But you can also, if you get a regular yogurt, just depends. I'm always, trying to penny pinch as much as I can. And if it's a few, $1 even more for the unsweetened with vanilla bean, you just grab a bottle of just vanilla extract, and you could always just drip a little, splash of vanilla extract into it as well. And you got your almond-based yogurt. Oh, that's fantastic. Good job, Douglas. And so it's not as inflammatory as I would say as dairy typically is. So I wanted to show you guys another trick, if you'd like.
I'm going to need to buy a house and a kitchen.
I think you're doing absolutely fantastic with just what you have.
I'm gonna have to buy a house and a kitchen then. Like, man.
So you guys were all talking about, I think we were talking about Brussels sprouts as well at one point, how some people like them, some people don't. I think our friend Heinz, who is not here, that we can maybe talk behind his back, right? Because he doesn't like vegetables. I wanted to show you just a little trick that I have for Brussels sprouts, because this is how I started liking Brussels sprouts. I just want to rinse them off.
Never have.
They baby cabbages.
Don't like those either.
Hey, Alan,
Yes,
just imagine what we've been missing all these years,
you're right. You're right.
you know?
Well, we can start now.
I guess it's never too late, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking, man, can you imagine
I
what we
need Kim to send me some of her artichokes. That thing was as big as her head. They're in
It's
Michigan.
actually,
They're not that big. They're maybe a little bit smaller than a baseball.
they were pretty large. And make sure you have the steam because it steams, so I have to turn on the steamer thing. But they can be pretty expensive when you get that large. So I usually will get 4 smaller ones for like $2.99 or $3.99, depending on where I can. If you have a Trader Joe's, a lot of times they get them in. But these are, I just think that Brussels sprouts are also incredibly healthy. And I'm going to show you just how to make a very simple Brussels sprout chip.
what about this? What about this dip with like blueberries and carrots and
Oh, you could definitely do that. So if you look at these Brussels sprouts, see, they come apart into little leaves. You can pull the leaves off. And what I do as I go along is I try to cut it. So I keep cutting off the stem so that the leaves keep breaking free. And when the leaves start getting stuck, I go and I cut it again. So I'll cut it again. And then more leaves will come off. And then I'm going
How do
to,
you dissect them?
what do I do? What?
Why do you dissect your Brussels sprouts?
I'm going to make Brussels sprout chips.
She's making a chip out of them.
Oh. I was gonna say, I've never seen anybody take them apart. I was confused.
Because if you ever go to the restaurant and they make crispy Brussels sprouts, this is the way they do it. And it takes a lot of time, but I figured out some little hacks. And so you just keep cutting the stem down, and see, I can do these pretty quickly now. And I'm going to throw those onto the pan. I'm going to get my next one. That one I already had cut a little bit. And you just spread them out. And this is great to use in your air fryer.
Oh, yeah.
I have Brussels sprouts, but they come in the packages and they're frozen, and those are what I cut them up and drop them in my Instapot.
Oh, see, that's great too. That's a healthy way of doing it. There are a lot of people that don't like vegetables, and I always look for ways. How do you get people to start tiptoeing into the realm of these healthier green vegetables? And so I want to show some people just how to do that with Brussels sprouts, because I think that they're so healthy. So I started with Brussels sprout chips. I thought they were too bitter until I had these. And then what I progressed to was then sauteing these leaves with some mushrooms. And I started literally having just full meals of just Brussels sprouts and mushrooms. And it was so good. They keep cutting the tip off, and then I'm just going ahead and putting them in here. I don't want to do too many, I just want to do some. And so then what I do is I drizzle some olive oil. Again, it's that Amphora Nueva olive oil on it. And this olive oil is actually pretty good, that it's thick. And so you don't have to use as much of it. It may have looked like a lot, but it really wasn't, because it's not even coating the bottom here. But then I just take it and I massage, all the leaves with it and separate the leaves. And then I'm going to add my favorite spices, and this is where and Douglas, we have different ideas as to what they would probably do. Like, I would probably add a little bit of Creole seasoning to that.
Sorry, I can't hear you. It's all muffled.
Oh, it's all muffled now?
Yeah,
When
you were
you're,
going all muffled there.
yeah, when you're
Oh,
talking down, then we can't hear you.
well, that's no fun.
No.
Okay, so with these Brussels sprouts, I'm not sure where you guys struggle to hear me at that point. You know, I use this to help people tiptoe into the foray of eating more greens and eating, I mean, these really healthy vegetables. I love that Douglas is eating eating these Brussels sprouts just as a you know, throwing them in an Instapot medium because that's really the healthiest that you can just do is to steam them. But this is a way that you can help people start to slowly say that they like the vegetables, right? Because we're going to crisp them in the air fryer. So I added a little oil, I added a little garlic. Garlic on everything is really delicious. I'm putting a little oregano on there. I love putting oregano on there. And then I'm going to put some pepper.
So just a sec. If we go back to my water is boiling again. So
Okay, you need to turn it
I
down.
turned it down a little bit, but I
Okay.
kind of reached in and pulled a leaf, and it just came right off.
Oh, that's a good sign. How long have you had it on?
It is now right at like 20 minutes or somewhere in there.
Okay, you can actually double check. That's the key. Is if the leaf actually comes out on its own. So go ahead and try one more leaf on a little bit of a tighter side.
So you just reach in and try and pull one. If it comes off easy, it's kind of done.
It's pretty much done, yeah.
It came off. Let me
Okay,
tell you.
so
You tell me. Let me just so I know.
okay, so hold on. I'm gonna remove these pins so that we can see yours. Where are you? There you are. Add pin. There you are.
Ready?
Yep. No, that you had to really tug on that one. Give it a couple more minutes.
Okay.
I would give it a couple more minutes. It should easily, you shouldn't have to yank it off. It just comes out.
Okay. Okay.
So I have you pinned up there. It's looking pretty good. Okay. So I have my
I'm gonna have to make some more dip.
getting your dip. It's looking for some apple seeds, which I don't see. You can actually, one of my favorite things that you can actually put on the Brussels sprouts as well is you can put some seeds on there. Hemp seeds have a lot of protein, adds a little bit of extra crisp to it. So you can always add some hemp seeds on top of the Brussels sprouts to actually make them just a little bit more hefty in protein. But I'm going to go ahead and stick these in the oven here. And I'm going to stick it on air fry. And I'm going to let those go. And so my artichokes are getting pretty close here to being done.
What temperature did you put the air fryer at?
I put it at 400.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to check mine. Mine has about 4 minutes left. And mine aren't quite come out. So I could yank it. But then you're going to have it too tough. And what's really funny yet not so funny is I had, told one of our network's members to go get some artichokes because she was having trouble lowering her A1C. And so we talked about the Ceylon cinnamon and we talked about the chia seeds, the power of chia seeds, and we talked about the power of artichokes, their antioxidant power, their ability to help you lower your A1C. And so she went out and got the artichoke. And I figured if she was going to go out and go get the artichoke, that she would call me and I would tell her how to cook it. Nope. So she did not call me. And I was asking her later about, whether she was going to get an artichoke. And she says, well, I already went out and I already tried the artichoke. And, honestly, it's really not my thing. And I said, well, what do you mean? How did you cook it? She says, well, I steamed it, but, and I just really could not chew up those leaves. And I said, you're not supposed to eat the whole leaf. You're supposed to actually just eat the tip. And so I'm going to have to show you. I didn't realize I would have to, but I will show you guys how to just eat the artichoke as well. Because also, once you get down to the heart, you don't want to eat the really, really thin leaves. There's really thin kind of purpley leaves or very, very light green leaves. You want to, if you do eat them, you just want to get maybe a little bit of the tip off, just at the end, not at the pointy tip, but on the roundish end where the meat is. You can get a little bit of it off there, but the safest thing is just to pull that out. And then when you get to the heart at the bottom, you got to pull the fuzz out. Do not eat the fuzz. Please, dear goodness, do not eat the fuzz.
But we
She
left
ate
it
the
in
fuzz.
there when
You
we were
won't like the
cooking it.
fuzz.
You won't, right, Marie? You will not like the fuzz at all. So,
But
yeah,
I left mine on there when I put it in there. That's okay
that's
though.
fine. Yeah, that's fine. You leave it in there. You know what? A lot of times what the restaurants will do is they'll serve it to you, in half. And they will have already taken out the parts that you don't eat, except for, of course, the leaves. And then you have to know how to eat the meat off the leaves. But yeah, you don't want to eat the fuzz and you don't want to eat those very, very thin leaves that are in the middle. I've got to a point where I know if they have a little bit of meat on the end, but you don't want to eat the thin all the way up towards the edge of the top edge of the leaf. You don't want to do that because it's too hard to chew up, and yeah, it's just not going to work out well for you. Okay, so I have about a minute left. It's been great. I mean, my dinner is cooked for the evening. But I'll eat. I mean, sometimes when I lived alone, sometimes I would go and I would just have 2 full artichokes for dinner, and that would be my full dinner. Of course, that only gives me 10 grams of protein. Usually you want to get about 30 grams of protein per meal, but at least it's something. And I love my artichokes. Absolutely love my artichokes. For my dad, this sauce that we made out of the yogurt, it's so key because he's the type of person that it's like, do you want an artichoke with your dip? I mean, he literally absolutely loves any sort of sauces. So I always have to be very careful when I'm making the sauces to ensure that all of the ingredients are wholesome, and it's not going to matter if he puts a huge dollop on there. And so it sounds like my artichokes.
So there's a leaf. There's a leaf.
Douglas, I think yours is probably pretty close to being done. Try pulling one again.
But I don't understand what you don't eat now. All right, so here we go. You ready?
Yep.
Yep, I usually will flip them over. Usually I'll flip them over and I'll get a leaf from the other side.
That's hot. That's hot. All right, let me flip it over.
Yeah, please
Well,
flip them
yeah,
over.
Todd, it's in the boiling steaming pot.
Don't burn yourself again, Douglas.
Oh, Steve, I should show you that.
All right, I
how it
turned
looks.
it over. Here we go. We'll pull this one off. This one. Ooh.
It's hot.
Yeah, just make sure you don't want to burn yourself. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna, pin this up here. And I'm gonna
But what
show
of
you
that do
just,
you not eat?
so just hold on 1 second. So you can see this one's a little more tough. I'm gonna leave that one in, but this one's out. That's a little tough. These are a little, mine are a little tougher. So I'm gonna have to leave mine
The
in.
ones you have, Douglas, usually I would hold it from the thin end.
Chef Michael, thank you.
I can't see, you go back where you were. So yeah, I usually hold it from that end and then just scrape your teeth across it and pull the meat off.
Where's the meat? Is this stuff?
It's in the whole leaf. The inside of the leaf is the meat.
Right. So what you want is right here. See, there's the back edge of the leaf. And then right here is the meat. So what
Yep.
you want to do is you only eat about a quarter down. So what I do is I take it, I flip it over. See, it's on its back. I point it in my mouth. And then I use my bottom teeth and top teeth to scrape.
Yep. Oh, I'm so jealous. I don't have one right now. God.
All right,
And
well,
this one is so good, even plain.
here we go. Y'all do know where I live, so if y'all don't hear from me in days, send somebody to help.
You'll
Here
be
we go.
fine. Do you dip it?
Let's see.
For the shrimp.
I must commend you.
There you go. You did it.
I think he forgot his dip too.
And I see.
Exactly, Douglas. That's exactly right.
All right, let's try the dip then.
Now you got it. Now you're cooking, Douglas.
What do you think?
Is it good?
You like them?
First off, please.
I mean, the
That's
way I look at it is it's just that the leaf is almost a conduit to your dip, right? And so that's what I always say is make sure you have a really good dip until you get used to the flavor of the artichoke and seasoning the artichoke.
What do you think, Alan?
Let's see, Alan.
It's tasty.
Makes
So you don't get a lot of the meat out of each little leaf, right?
it depends on the leaf. And
Yeah.
so
The bigger
use
the
teeth-
leaf, the more of the meat.
Okay.
Exactly.
I need to buy a pair of tongs.
So Alan, is yours done, Alan? They looked a little tough still.
Yeah, I think it still needs more cooking.
Yeah, it was just like mine, and mine were pretty big as well. So Douglas, how are you doing on yours? Is the meat coming off pretty easily, or do you need a little bit more time on the stove?
Go ahead about your business. I'm eating.
Yeah. He cut
Ashley
his into
does like it.
he cut his into quarters, so his might have got done a little bit faster.
That's actually
It's actually pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's really fun.
Now Kim, you get your artichokes a lot fresher than mine are going to be.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. Mine are, I'm gonna just show you on mine. Mine are still gonna take a few more minutes because these are really, really large. As I said, it's a really good, it's just a good basic timeline to say, okay, bring it to a boil and then 30 minutes and it's pretty done. And that's just a baseline, for the most part for you. It's going to vary a little bit. And as I said, it might take a little bit more. It typically does not take less.
Douglas is happy he found tongs.
There you go.
Okay. I'm going to set this up here so I can show you. Okay, so here's my artichoke. This is the fuzz right here. And you don't want to eat that. Now, the other part is this little part here is there's just a set of leaves. And it's really hot right now. I'm gonna just go ahead. Whew, that is so hot.
I
I'm
can't
gonna
see,
just-
I can't see what you're discarding. I can't see the plate. Or I can't see the artichoke.
So you had said about a
It's in
quarter
her
down.
hand there.
You don't want to eat the leaves about a quarter or so down towards the heart then, right? It's just kind of like the upper parts of the leaf you want to eat that come off the
It's-
artichoke.
The little baby leaves you do not want to eat. There's nothing to them.
Right. So what I do is
And
I'll
you'll know
take
if you
off,
eat the
see
fuzz.
this? See this? This is, you know, right off, you know, right down here at the bottom. It comes off like this. And you can still chew some of this off, but these are the really flimsy. You can still chew some of this off. I mean, still really good, but you
Okay.
want to get this fuzz out. So you usually, if it's cooked right, it should just be coming out, but you don't want to see these little things up here. That gets really pointy. Just eat and just eat just down here in this little part.
We can't see.
You can actually bite that off. And I'll show you. I can actually put it over here. And you can see this when I'm just chewing off just the edge. I don't want the fuzz. I don't want the pokey stuff. Might have to pull a little piece of it out. But you can see that the stuff on the inside is just little flimsy. You can just bite off the end. But for the most part, if you're doing the artichoke, just scrape the meat off.
Okay.
And if you get a big piece of the leaf in your mouth, just pull it out. The whole point is just to eat the. Well, I'm going to dip it in my dip.
This
And I
is
mean, you can. So I put it here, and you can hold it upright. It's easier for me sometimes to flip it the other way. But you can hold it upright and use your top teeth. I still flip it over.
All right, well, I'm gonna let you guys go because I'm getting jealous.
okay.
And
Enjoy,
so
you guys. You're gonna love them.
See you
it's
later.
really good.
Bye.
There you go. There, I pull them out, Kim.
Fantastic.
This is gonna take some practice to learn how to eat them.
It does take a little bit of practice. But as long as you're not afraid of it, you can't be afraid of it.
No.
It does take time, but it keeps, it keeps your hands busy. And it's just kind of fun. I enjoy it. I like the whole process of just dipping it in the juice. I mean, a lot of times you asked about eating it cold. I mean, I'll just pull it out of the fridge and I'll just start eating it right then and there. I don't even have dip half the time. The only reason I really like the dip is when I get to the heart, I pull out the fuzz and then I like dipping the heart in the sauce. And that is just absolutely delicious.
Okay.
And so, pretty good. Listen, I think we're getting some Brussels sprouts. And I will show you my Brussels sprouts here.
I'm curious. I like Brussels sprouts.
Look at this. Little Brussels sprout chips.
Nice.
So good. Oh my God. Now, these I can just munch on all day long.
I want to go to the store and get some.
I love these.
Nice.
These ones, I just keep a bag of these Brussels sprouts in the fridge. And then, 4 o'clock rolls around and I just want a little bit of a snack.
Yeah.
And I'll usually have a little mocktail. And I should show you my mocktail. It's so delicious. I get, I go to that olive oil shop and I'll get either the Sicilian lemon, white balsamic vinaigrette, or the Gravenstein apple white balsamic vinegar. And I'll add it to some club soda or some mineral water. I added some Pellegrino. And it's this wonderful cocktail. And this one's a little bit of a secret. I'll take some apple cider vinegar as well and put a splash of that in it. And it's a delicious mocktail that is, especially with this white balsamic vinegar that we get from Amphora Nueva, it has the same properties as apple cider vinegar. It does have, for those people who are diabetic or pre-diabetic, it does, when you get a flavored balsamic, it does have a higher glycemic index on it versus if you just use apple cider vinegar. But I like to use it's naturally infused with the Sicilian lemon, and it's naturally infused with the Gravenstein apple. Gravenstein apples are really big here in Northern California. They're grown. We have a Gravenstein apple festival every year up in Sebastopol, which is in wine country, in Sonoma County. And so it's just delicious. And it's really refreshing. Add a little bit of ice, and you have a really satisfying mocktail with some Brussels sprout chips to snack on before dinner.
Nice.
And so, any more questions about those artichokes? I think you guys did a great job. It was easy. Would you do it again?
Yes. Yes. I
What
want
about you, Douglas? Let's see what you got going on over there. Oh, Douglas, those look beautiful. And look, he even plates everything. And you cleaned out the insides. Let me see, you cleaned out the insides. That's definitely a great way to serve it. That's perfect, Douglas. You got the fuzz out. You got the little floppy leafies out that are really tough to eat. And you did it perfectly. And it looks like we got Alan who's eating his right now. How'd you do? Is it done yet?
It's done, and it's very tasty.
Good. So yours probably takes about what, 40 minutes on your
It must have
stove?
been, it must have been about that.
It's always good to start with 30 minutes, test it, and then do it in 5-minute increments, and make sure you check the water level so that you don't burn the bottom of your pan.
Yes.
So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. This was really fun. Make
Thank
sure
you.
you do like our
Thank
video,
you.
subscribe
Thank
to our
you, Kim.
channel. And wasn't that
Thanks.
fun? If you want to join our live studio audience, if you want to cook with us any Friday, if you want to demonstrate a recipe that you love, that is heart healthy, cardiovascular healthy, vascular healthy, go ahead, email me at kym@thewaytomyheart.org, or just comment in the comment section of this video and we will find you and we will recruit you to come and cook with us any Friday. If you want to learn more about heart healthy eating and peripheral artery disease eating in particular, you can grab our book. It is Food for Thought, and you can pick it up on Amazon. And it's $20. And it's 100 pages, lots of different recipes, and lots of great information about your artery health. And an easy way to find it is just go to Amazon and then search peripheral artery disease. And then it's one of the books that shows up there. It's Food for Thought. You'll see our heart character that's on there, PADdy. And join us any Friday for PADdy's Plate. Again, like our video, subscribe to our channel, help us out here. And we really appreciate everyone joining us. And much love to all.